Zarella, 19 Action News. As you look ahead 47 days and all of the things and the speculation that's going to be rampant regarding LeBron, do you still believe the Cavaliers have an advantage in bringing him back?
You know, I'm still kind of coming down from last night, I think. You know, it would be time to talk about free agency and LeBron's situation. Clearly, he is important to this part of the world. Our fans in general, I think the people in this part of the world have really enjoyed and taken a lot from his career and him being here. So we know it's important to the people here. And we have, I think, and we will continue to do everything we can to be the best organization we can be that he wants to be a part of and that other players want to be a part of as well.
Mark Berman, New York Post. Have you sat down with LeBron today for his exit interview? And, you know, is there some worry after what he said last night?
No, I haven't sat down with really anyone today, exit interview-wise, other than, you know, the people that I work with in the front office. You know, we spent time together, but I haven't sat down with any of the players as of yet.
Does that take place this weekend?
There's no set time with each one. You know, I think every team does it differently. I think here it's more spread out in how we do it.
Danny,
more one-on-one. Yeah.
John Tillich, Fox 8. Speak to the job that Mike Brown did in the playoffs, specifically this series, the matchups against his counterpart on the other side of the sidelines.
John, you know, let me first start off saying, because I know it's something you guys are talking about today. I respect Mike Brown, and I've always enjoyed working with him. You know, all of us are disappointed with how we played at the end, and spend the next period of time talking about it and kind of figuring it out. I'll sit down with Mike. You know, I'll sit down with Dan. We'll sit down as a group and kind of talk through things.
And the injury affected Shaq being here. But looking back, Danny, did you guys maybe plan for Orlando and forget about Boston? Was the way you set this team up kind of an all-in to win it this year? Was that a mistake?
We're trying to win it every year. You know, that's been the focus for our organization. And you know, unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it yet, but we're trying to win it every year. You know, you have a guy like LeBron, for example. I mean, that's an obligation that you have to go for it. And it's one that we've taken seriously and tried to make happen.
Danny, do you think the last week and a half of the season, resting guys, hurt the team's rhythm? And if you find yourself in the same position next year, would you do it again?
Joe, you know, people say we were resting guys. Shaq couldn't play. He wasn't cleared to play. You know, LeBron is in Chicago before the game said my arm's a little sore. No one knew what it was or how long it would last. So we shut him down. And you know, those were the right decisions. Was it the right decision to get us to play the right way? All those things. If we could play him, yeah, it'd probably be good to play him at that time. But I think in both situations, I mean, Shaq, you know, doctors are saying no, he can't play. And LeBron's just starts to complain about something at the time when the games are not going to affect seeding for us or anything like that, that, you know, the decision was made, okay, let's step back and let's give it some rest. Let's make sure that, you know, kind of try to figure out what's going on. And, you know, I don't think it was good for us, but at the end of the day, it was something that we made the right decisions along the way.
Jeff Shudell from the News Herald. Two questions. Could you talk about your future here since your contract is up? And the second unrelated one is, do you think the way this series ended will affect one way or the other LeBron's decision?
My situation, you know, I have not sat down with Dan Gilbert yet at all. Well, 3 minutes today. I saw him, and we'll sit down probably this afternoon and going forward and talk about the team in general, and he's going to review everything. We're going to talk through everything. One of the things is going to be my situation, and we'll go from there. Beyond that, I'm not really. It's an internal matter. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my situation necessarily. As it relates to how we played at the end, yeah, I mean, we didn't win. And we're going after it every year. And we didn't win this year. It affects how everyone on our team feels about the year. It affects how I feel. It affects how Mike Brown. It affects how Dan Gilbert. It affects how our fans feel. And, personally, it just makes me hungry to do it.
But I mean, do you think it will affect whether LeBron stays or goes away to seven?
I can't. I don't really want to speculate on that. His goals are to win. That's aligned with what we want to do. Beyond that, I really don't want to speculate on how he feels right now and how that's going to affect things. As I said to start, this is an emotional time for all of us. We're all disappointed. We're all frustrated. That's not bad. That's a good thing, I think. We'll go from there.
Danny, to your left. Over here. Jason Lloyd from the Akron Beacon Journal. LeBron a few days ago mentioned that his elbow was an issue that he would deal with after the season ended. Are you expecting him to have any sort of surgical procedure on that now?
I have not been told by any of the doctors or anyone that there's a surgical procedure necessary, but I do know that if it was the regular season, we'd probably shut him down for a couple weeks. So I can tell you that, but we were in the playoffs and that time of year. It was something that he could play with that wouldn't hurt himself further than what we were told, so he was ready to go.
Secondly, if he does leave, you're left with a roster without a lot of flexibility, no expiring contracts. How do you remake the roster? Do you remake the roster? Where do you go from there if he leaves and you're not left with a lot of financial flexibility to bring in any free agents?
Well, we can analyze the contracts and the whole deal for sure. There is expiring contracts. I think the roster does have flexibility. Expiring contracts next year, expiring contracts the following years. One of the things that we wanted to build into this thing was having the flexibility to make changes if it needed to happen. And you can do that with cap space, or you can do it with expiring contracts and building flexibility into your roster. And we've tended to migrate towards the flexibility part because we've been trying to win now. And our focus is to continually try to win every year.